Hello, welcome to the very first episode of Film Capsule. I'm your host Sam Moriarty, and this is the podcast in which me and a special guest take a deep dive into the films that made their childhood so special, and how it has impacted them throughout their lives. Today's guest is Nicola, who has chosen a very special film for our premiere episode. Today's film is Clueless, which was released in 1995 and starred Alicia Silverstone, Stacey Dash, Brittany Murphy, and Paul Rudd. It was directed by Amy Heckerling and grossed $56.6 million at the worldwide box office. It currently has a rating of 6.9 on IMDb and 81% critical score on Rotten Tomatoes. The director of Clueless has gone on to direct 4 episodes of the Clueless TV series, as well as episodes of Gossip Girl, whereas Alicia Silverstone and Paul Rudd found success in the superhero genre, playing famous heroes Batgirl and Ant-Man. Clueless is currently available to stream on Netflix and Now TV. Why did you decide to showcase this film for today's episode?
Well, mainly because when I was asked to think of a childhood film, this one came to mind almost immediately, and it was one I could remember the most. Like growing up in the 80s, it wasn't like it was now where you had the likes of on demand. You could watch a film anywhere, like a cinema trip was maybe once every year or so. We had things on VHS, there was nothing to watch instantly. So also because I've watched it recently as well with one of my children who's into that type of 90s theme teenager high school film, so it came to mind almost straight away for them reasons.
In general, what do you like about Clueless?
To be honest, watching it back as an adult, not much. When I was younger, absolutely loved the film. It glamorised everything that as a young girl I wanted to be. So as an adult, yeah, not much at all, but as a young girl I loved the whole side where Cher had, by the way, she's the main character just in case you didn't know. She came from a rich family, she was loved by everybody, she had an endless amount of clothes, she was kind. So I think being a young teenage girl, that's what I liked about the film, because that was sort of the type of thing that I wanted in my life.
What don't you like about Clueless?
So, as an adult now, what I don't like about it is the way it glamorises popular as being something that you should aspire to be, and aesthetically pretty blonde blue eyes is the best thing to be. It glamorises surgery for young teenagers, that's a good thing. A lot of segregation, it makes out that it's normal and that's the way things should be, the geeky kids should be over there and the rich kids should be here and the indie kids are over there, and we don't mix because we shouldn't. There's things that I particularly don't think that kids should be watching. So yeah, that's what I don't like about it. So basically the whole plot of the film.
How and when were you first introduced to this film?
So I think it was in the early 90s. I would have been in what people call high school now, but then it was called senior school. And I think it was at a friend's. I think we watched it there. We knew it had come out. We were excited to watch it. We didn't watch it in the cinema, and we rented a video. We watched it in the house.
Renting videos isn't just something that you can do anymore, is it?
Exactly, yeah.
It's all digital now.
There's no Blockbuster anymore, We used to have a video man that used to come round and play his music in the car park. We'd go rent a video, and then he'd come back the next week, we'd drop it off, or we could rent a video from the corner shop. So yeah, it's just something that doesn't happen anymore. We rent films if we want to on our Virgin box or our Sky box or our Now TV box or Prime, or we have subscriptions like Netflix and things to watch films, don't we, Disney Plus.
What impact did it initially have on you?
I think the impact it had on me initially would have been aspiring. So, I want to be like Cher. I would love to be like that. Looking back now, it's quite a negative thing because it's so unachievable. And for my friends as well, we wanted that type of thing. We wanted the wardrobe, a digital wardrobe that helped us choose what to wear, all the clothes. endless money, the whole American high school thing. We were like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could go to school in our own clothes? Because obviously in this country everybody wears uniforms, and they still do now. So it was that whole American culture and wanting to have that. Me and my friends wanted that in our lives. You know, I remember a part of the film where there's a girl who'd had a nose job and she couldn't do PE, and we were like, oh my god, that's amazing. You know, I'd love to get this done and I'd love to get that done, which really is actually quite terrible, because why at 12 and 13 we're already thinking about changing our bodies, which is something that shouldn't even, in my opinion, be entering the mind of a young teenage child.
What have you learnt from the film?
What I've learned now being an adult and working in the field of psychology, that being subject to these type of films and these types of living ideas, how it impacts people later on in life. So then just talking about the changes and wanting to make changes to the way we look and things like that now. Massive industry of aesthetics that's come to light. Personally, I think those type of films are sort of the start of that. So being introduced at such a young age to, this is how you should look, because if you look like this, you'll do great in life. And it's fine to change how you look because it's better. You should have a smaller nose, and you should dye your hair, and you should wear short skirts, because if you do, you're going to do better in life. So I think that type of scenario, what I've learned is how it's had a negative impact later on in adult life for many women.
Why do you associate this film with that part of your life?
Because me and my friends wanted to have that type of life in high school. We wanted the whole, like, wearing your own clothes, going to parties, you know, popular, rich boyfriends. We wanted that, you know. Truth be told, we were the popular girls in school. As bad as it sounds, and it's quite embarrassing, we wear that whole Cher Dion thing, like that's what we wear. So it sort of almost resonated with us in a way.
Who was your favourite character and why?
It would have been Cher. For her character, she just wanted everybody to be happy. She wanted her dad to be happy. She wanted her friends to be happy. You know, there was a girl in the film who had come to the school out from out of town, who was portrayed as like geeky, not really good looking, wasn't popular at all, and Cher took her under a ring and put makeup on her and had her having to dress a certain way and was like, we'll get you a boyfriend and we'll do this and we'll do that. She thought that it would make the girl's life better if she was to have those things. So I think at the time it'd be Cher, because she just wanted to be kind to people and she wanted people to feel good about themselves.
When you rewatched the film, like, as an adult, was she still your favourite character, or did your perception of the character change over time?
Oh, absolutely changed. She wasn't my favourite character. I was in more shock, like, oh my god, this film is complete opposite of what I thought it was. And I was watching it with my son, who was then 10, and I was just thinking, wow, I can't believe these films were actually promoted as films for teenagers to watch, and it was a good thing. I think my favourite character, who probably wasn't in it that much, would have been Cher's dad, because he was very straight down the line, very much, no, Cher, you need to behave, you can't do this, you can't do that, and was trying to put her on the path of, you know, you shouldn't be spending so much money, you shouldn't be going out, you need to do well at school. But that's me coming now, being a parent and being an adult myself, but she definitely is not my favourite character now.
What's your favourite scene and why?
I think when I'd watched it the first time round, my favourite scene was when she was choosing what to wear, because it was so futuristic, as in she'd got this computer where she chooses outfits and the wardrobe makes it for her. So at the time I was like, oh my god, wow, I'd love that. As an adult, it's probably where she gets two of her teachers to fall in love with each other, because I just think it's quite cute the way they leave little notes to the teachers from each other when they've done it themselves. The teachers haven't, because she thinks, oh, this teacher's so unhappy, but if she falls in love, then she's going to be happy. So I think my favourite scene would be when the two teachers fall in love with each other.
How would you pitch a sequel for this film?
High school reunion. People apologise to each other for ill-treating. Cher's donated all her money to charities into helping young people survive high school, and with anti-bullying campaigns, anti-drug campaigns, and being popular isn't the be-all and end-all to life.
How would you describe this film to somebody who's never watched it before?
I would say it is a 90s based film that is your typical popular girls, popular boys, rich kids, poor kids, nerds, not really liking each other but getting on for the sake of it, where you have your typical love story in the end.
And finally, do you have any film recommendations to anyone listening today?
I would say for people who are interested in that whole American teen love genre, I would say watch the Twilight films. They cover everything, and without any spoilers, there's always a happy ending.
Thank you for being the first guest interview for this show. It's been a pleasure. Hope to speak to you soon.
Thanks, Samuel.
That's it for the very first episode of Film Capsule, and we are just getting started with a new episode every week focusing on a different film that made a childhood. I'd like to thank Nicola for being a wonderful guest, and I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into our premiere episode. I've been Sam Moriarty, and I'll see you next week.